All right. I am back. Today is Thursday, the start of the regular season. It's Thursday morning. I'm going to go ahead and throw out my AFC Division predictions and playoff picture. I meant to do this yesterday, kind of got busy, but we'll jump right into it. We'll start with the AFC West. I know Travis Kelsey had a knee injury in practice the other day, but from everything I've seen, it's not serious, no major damage. So I think if they're smart, they'll rest him a game, maybe two. I think they're smart enough to realize their goal is not to win the first game of the season; it's to be playing in and win the last game of the season, which is the Super Bowl. So I think the Chiefs win that division. With the caveat of if Travis Kelsey's injury turns into long term, I think the Chargers will win that division. But as of right now, I have the Chiefs winning. I have the Chargers in second. They have a great offense, new offensive coordinator. I think we may see some slight growing pains early with that, but I think it won't take long. I just overall, I think the Chiefs with Travis Kelsey are a better team, and if they get Chris Jones back, they'll have the better defense, and that, in my book, puts them over the Chargers in the division. Third place in the division, I have the Broncos. It's kind of a team that's been in disarray. You're hearing a lot of stuff about Sean Payton telling Russell Wilson he needs to focus on football more and less on Russell Inc. and things like that. I could easily see Russell Wilson getting benched a little ways into the season and then playing Jared Stidham, but ultimately I think they'll end up with a better record than the Raiders. So I think the Broncos will take third, and I think the Raiders will take fourth. They got porn star Jimmy starting at quarterback. He rarely stays healthy. When he's healthy, he plays pretty well. He's got Devontae Adams. He's got a good running back, but ultimately, I think there's too many issues there, and I think the Raiders end up taking last in the division. Moving over to the AFC South, I think this is probably the easiest division to pick the winner in. I think the Jags are going to run away with it. I don't think any team in that division is going to be within 4 or 5 wins of the Jags. I think they easily dominate that division. Um, no, nothing really to explain there. I mean, they got the best offense by far. They got the best quarterback by far. So I think that's really all they need. I think the Titans probably take second in that division. I think they have a better, more well-rounded offense and team than the other two offenses. And they typically have a fairly decent defense. So I got the or not the Jags, the Titans taking second. Kind of a toss up for third and fourth, but I have the Texans taking third and the Colts taking fourth, mainly because the issues with Jonathan Taylor. So if they have no running game with a rookie quarterback, they're just going to be in all kinds of trouble on the offensive side of the ball. So I have the Texans getting third and the Colts getting fourth. Moving over to the AFC East, I have the Jets winning that division. That was one of my bold predictions, that's what I think is going to happen. I think the Jets have the best defense in the division, and I know Josh Allen is a very talented quarterback, but I think Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback. Maybe not so much physically anymore, but mentally, he's a much better quarterback. And um, I just think that that's going to pay off. Rodgers' experience and his ability to. I think he's more accurate than Josh Allen, so I think he's going to be able to pinpoint passes better. I think he'll take care of the ball better, eliminate turnovers, and if the Jets' defense plays like it did last year, I think the Jets win a lot of football games, ultimately winning that division. Second, I do have Buffalo. I think their lack of a run game has been an issue for them. There's was some issues with Diggs this offseason, so just between all that, I think they're going to have some issues. Von Miller's out for the first 4 weeks at least, so their defense is not going to be quite as good as what it was last year for early on. So I think a little bit of a slow start for them, and I think the Jets may jump out a little bit ahead of them and ultimately win the division over them. But I do have the Bills coming in a close second. Third, I have Miami. I know Miami has a talented offense. They have a lot of speed at wide receiver. Tua is a pretty good quarterback, but ultimately his health is a concern for me. The concussions last year, I just feel like he's one sack away from missing the rest of the season at any point in time. Um, with as many concussions as he got last year, one concussion this year could end up keeping him out half the season or longer. So ultimately, I don't see him staying healthy, and the Dolphins don't really have much of a run game, and I just I just don't see them doing better than third in that division. Pulling up the rear, I have the Patriots. Mac Jones is obviously the worst quarterback in the division. I know Bill Belichick is a great coach, but when he doesn't have a great quarterback with him, he just doesn't do well. I mean, and that's not a knock on him. That's kind of how every coach is. I mean, without a without a top 10 quarterback, a coach does not make it long term in the NFL. And I mean, we don't talk about coaches winning without good quarterbacks. I mean, Andy Reid is talked about as maybe being the best coach in the NFL now because of what he's doing with Kansas City and what he did with Philly back in the day. But there again, back in the day, Donovan McNabb was always one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and now Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. So it good quarterback play and good coaching go hand in hand. Um, so, like I said, I think the Patriots. I think defensively they'll be good because that's Bill Belichick's specialty, but offensively they may be a little bit better now that they've actually gotten a real offensive coordinator for Mac Jones, but I just don't see them winning enough to not get fourth in that division. Moving over to the AFC North, I have the Bengals winning that division. I just I think with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, I mean their offense has been together for the most part for the last several years. There's not really any new pieces to work in. Kind of a solid system. Everybody's kind of entrenched, bought in, and I think they end up winning the division. Second, I have the Ravens. I know they've got a new offense coordinator. They got several new wide receivers. A lot of people think Lamar Jackson is going to have a great year because of that, but I think we will see some growing pains with it, getting everybody on the same page in game action, getting um, new offense coordinator in the flow of calling games and calling them right to fit Lamar's skill set and everything like that. So I think they may have somewhat of a slow start and have a few issues early on, but I think they'll get it together. And ultimately, I think they get second in the division behind the Bengals. Third, I have the Steelers, second year quarterback, getting a little bit more time in the system. He's got some good weapons on offense. He's got a fairly solid defense. TJ Watt's healthy. So if they happen to get leads in games, I can see Mike Tomlin letting the defense pin their ears back and just letting TJ Watt go wild on quarterbacks. But ultimately, I don't think they are good enough to win the division. They could potentially fight for second in the division, but ultimately, I see them getting third. And last place, I see the Browns. This division was the toughest division to pick in the AFC because really outside of I think I could see the Bengals or Ravens getting first, and for second, I could see all three teams, Ravens, Steelers, or Browns, getting second. I mean, but in the Browns' case, it all depends on Deshaun Watson. If he shows up and plays like he did before he held out in Houston, plays like that top five, top eight quarterback that he was at that point, the Browns could make a lot of noise in the AFC and in the division, and I could see them getting second in that case. But if if he doesn't show up being that top five, top eight quarterback, if he just shows up being an average quarterback and not playing well, I don't see them doing any better than fourth in the division. I mean, they've got good running game, they got good receivers, they've got defensive line. They got Miles Garrett. I mean, they have the tools to be a really good team. They've got a pretty decent head coach. I'm not going to say they have a really good head coach. I'm not so sure about that, but like I said, it all depends on Deshaun Watson and how he plays. So I have them getting fourth. So my playoff teams, obviously the division winners I have picked the Cincinnati Bengals, Kansas City Chiefs, Jacksonville Jaguars, New York Jets, all making the playoffs. And for the wild card teams, I have the Baltimore Ravens, the LA Chargers and the Buffalo Bills. So that's what I got right now. And since it's game day, I'm gonna make another video in the next day or two picking all of my week one winners. But since game one is tonight, I'm gonna go ahead and say, with a slight caveat, because like it hasn't been said if Travis Kelce's gonna play or not, or I haven't saw that. If Travis Kelce plays, I think the Chiefs win the game. If Travis Kelce doesn't play, the Lions win the game. I think the Chiefs are going to play it safe and rest Kelce, make sure his knee is completely okay. They don't want to risk hurting it for the long run. So I think they're going to sit him. And if he's not playing, I got the Detroit Lions winning the game. So stay tuned for my week one predictions over the next day or two, and I'll see you then.